what do we have here? This is 2003 Polaris Predator. I know a ton of people in the comment section wanted me to get a Polaris Predator 500, so today is the day we're doing that. This was up for a project. I just called the guy. He said that he'd take $800 for it. He said, he kind of gave me the rundown here. Basically, he said that he could not get it to fire. It turns over, has compression, and has spark, and he said he just cannot get it to fire. He thinks it's timing. So we're gonna go check it out, see if it's worth buying, and you know, give him the $800 if it all looks decent. You can see going through the pictures, it looks like it's all there. You can see he's got the clutch side off for some reason. Aftermarket exhaust on there, pretty nice one too. There's the seat for it. You can see it's kind of clapped out, but you know, $800 is $800. We can work with that. And there's all the plastics for it. So let's hit the road. It's right in Amro, so it's only like 20 minutes away from my house, which is perfect. We'll go pick her up and start working on it, see if we can get this thing fired up. I'm pretty pumped. Usually these quads go for like $27.50, so we'll see if we can get it for $800. Stay tuned. Should be a pretty fun project. All right, the beast is back home. It was getting dark yesterday when I picked it up, so I didn't really film too much of it, but it's here, and she's a little rough, but not too bad. The guy basically told me that you know, he couldn't figure out the timing. That's what he thinks. Turns over, everything works on it besides the, you know, it doesn't start. So today, we're gonna be taking it apart and figuring out why it's not starting. I think it's the timing too. I think he messed up the timing, or the previous owner before him messed up the timing, and it never was right again. These plastics are just kind of laying on here right now. The seat comes off. We'll put everything over here as a parts thing. All right, so this plastic comes off over here. Got that plastic piece off, and the gas tank just pulls right out of there like that. So it did come with the manual. Comes with an extra head, an extra valve cover, extra cams and stuff like that. A couple gaskets in here. Comes with like everything to put it back together, so like the pipe and everything like that. It does have an aftermarket pipe on it. Yashimura pipe off-road. I don't know if those are any good. Let me know in the comment section if you guys run those and if they're pretty good. I'm not too sure. Haven't really heard too much about them. We'll kind of quick just walk over the whole quad and check it out. It's got Nerf bars on it. I don't know if these are stock for it. I'm guessing they're not. Not really sure what brand these are. I don't really see a brand stamped on it. They don't look like anything too fancy. So, but they do have them, which is nice. It's got Renthal bars on it. I think that's basically the only updates to it. It does not have a grab bar, which is really annoying. So we'll have to get a grab bar if we can get this thing going. Somebody must have taken it off or something. But the chain and sprockets are a little rusty. You can see. We get the flashlight out. We can take a closer look at stuff. Chain and sprocket are really rusty. Suspension felt pretty good when I jumped on it. You can see all the plastics are kind of unbolted and everything, and yeah, the backlight's broken, so must have crashed at one point. Brake rotor is really rusty. It's got a couple of rusty places on it. You can see like the brake lever for the back. I don't know where. Oh, that's. Okay, that's working. It's got all the hoses from the radiator. It's got the fan on there still. He said he updated the, or not updated, but got a new ignition switch for it. I wonder if that was missing when he bought it. Let's see what else. Any aftermarket wheels on here or anything. Doesn't look like it. It says Yamaha wheels. So that's interesting. Let's see what's on here. DID Japan wheels on there. So there's that. It looks like it's got PR. It says Pro steering. I don't know if that's like a bearing. It says Fox racing shocks on them. Fuel pumps up here. I don't know if that works. The guy basically said he never had it running in 3 years. So it will be interesting to see what we find wrong with this thing. Is there coolant in it? There shouldn't be coolant in it, right? If I can get the cap off. There we go. Yeah, there's not really coolant in it. And then the oil is drained out of it right now because he had the clutch cover off, and he was trying to set the timing up here. So for the timing up here, I'll quick walk you through what needs to happen. So there's 3 dots on these sprockets, on the cam sprockets. You can see there's one right there. See right here? That's one of them, and there's another one right here. These have to be aligned in a way that those have to be aligned at top dead center. One circle right here, one little circle right there, one circle right here, and one circle up there. And this cam chain's a little different. There's supposed to be 3 gold links. I've got the manual. I can show you guys this better in the manual. So basically this picture right here, you can see there's 1 gold link right there, 1 gold link right there, and then down here is what he was trying to do. He was trying to get this gold link hooked up with that circle, and he said he couldn't get the bolt off to get that correct. So he thinks the timing was wrong. This timing's a little different than the other 4 strokes. It's a little bit more intricate. You've got, like I said, the gold piece has to be lined up with the circle down here and up here. Usually this doesn't really matter down here, and you just have to figure out the timing up here, which is easy. But since you have to work down here now, we have to go down into the clutch area, which is why the clutch was off, and try to get that to line up with that mark. There's a bolt covering that's really, really hard to get off. So what we're probably going to do is take a camera, stick it down there, see where that circle is, and then move the chain from up at the top. That's the plan, at least. And these actually have a decompression release on the actual cam, on the exhaust cam. So if you look down here, I was checking to make sure that was in there. You can see it poking through right there. There's the decompression lobe, or whatever you want to call it. So that is on there, which is good. There's some ice forming in the top end right there. Nice. But basically what we're going to do today is try to figure out the timing and see if that's the problem. First thing we're going to do is hook up a battery to it, test out the lights, test and see if everything else turns on, and then we're going to check for spark, because that's the first step. Alright, let's start with the timing first. Let's just see where we're at for marks. This guy said that he had 3 people work on it, and none of them could figure it out. So if we can figure this out, that would pretty much be a miracle. So it's going to be very interesting. Now what we're going to do is rotate this thing counterclockwise until the lobes are pointing opposite direction from each other, and then we should be able to see a T in here coming up pretty soon. Aha. Alright, right there. You guys can probably see this. I'll kind of zoom in so you guys can see. Right in there. You guys look. you can see the T, and that's going to line up with this little notch right there. See how it kind of highlights it? Kind of hard to tell, but that's where we're lined up. And you can tell if you're top dead center and not 180 out by looking at the lobes. See how this lobe's pointing that way and that lobe's pointing that way? That means you're at top dead center. So that looks good. He set those correctly. So the marks on here should be correct as well. And they look like they are correct. So you can see there's a circle right there, a little nick in it right there, and a circle right there. And then on this one, on this cam sprocket, you can see there's a circle at the top right there, and a circle right there. So this guy lined it up perfectly, but it looks like the gold chain, see, look at, this is what I'm talking about, where it's gold right there. See how that one's gold? And then, I don't know where the other gold one is, but that is where we're having problems. So the gold chain is supposed to be right at the top of this thing. And then there's another one right there, and then another one down here. So we're missing this one and that one, because that one's not right at the top. That's supposed to be directly over that circle, like on the picture, and it is not. So it looks like that could probably be the culprit right there. So we're gonna take off the clutch side cover and try to see what we can see for that sprocket down here. See if we can get like a little camera in there or something to help us out. But we need to take off the cam chain tensioner and move this chain. But before we do that, let's just have some fun with it and see if we've got some spark before we start taking everything off this. Man, there's some chunks of ice in there. I'm gonna get those chunks of ice out quick. It dropped down to like 9 degrees today. That's why it's everything's freezing. So must have been water in this thing at one point. So that's not good either. A bunch of ice in there. We don't like ice and stuff. That's never good. Hook up a battery and see if this thing turns over. All right, we got the battery jumper out. Let's try to turn the key on here and see if anything happens. Oh, the lights turned on. Oh, they keep on turning off. I think it's... Okay. I can hear something. Alright, let's see if this thing turns over, I guess. Alright, we're gonna quick crank this thing over, see what happens. Alright, cranks over. That's good. Let's get that spark plug out of there. Then we should probably do a compression test as well. But there is a decompression valve in there, so I don't know. Probably won't get much of a reading for compression. Well, we'll see if we get spark. Brand new plug, looks like. Alright. Moment of truth here. We'll go right to the frame. I don't see anything. Probably not fast enough to crank it over. I have to get the battery from the DS650. Is it on? Looks like it's on. Must not be fast enough. Alright. Well, we know it cranks over, and the guy said it did have spark, so I'm going to take his word for it. And we're going to go down into the clutch area now, take that off, and see what that little sprocket looks like, and see if we can line up the chain with that mark and get this timing spot on. Alright, let's get this clutch cover off of here. Maybe have to go. All right, clutch cover off of it. So this is the sprocket that we're going to be looking at right there. We got to figure out where that little circle is in there and then get the gold chain to match up to that. That's the goal. So I think we need to take off all this stuff so we can get a better picture of it. So clutch is coming off of this thing. All right, we got the clutch out of it right there. And now we can get access to cam chain, which is right there. So basically we just have to find that dot on the sprocket behind there, and we're good to go. You can see this thing once had water in it. You can see how oily the motor is right there, either from sitting outside or because it probably was sitting outside, because look at the top, there's water in the top too. So somehow this got water in it. I don't know if it was coolant from the water pump or what. But that's what that looks like in there. So maybe the water pump seal is bad. I'm not too sure. First priority is to get this thing started, then we can dig into it further. But the clutch is over here and all the clutch components. Probably one of the easiest clutches I've taken apart. Basically clutch basket, clutch, and then the clutch plates. So there's not really too many extra parts that go in there, so it's pretty easy to remember how to put back together. But yeah, let's get out our diagram again. So this is what we're looking for. As a little circle. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. A little circle right there that we have to line a gold chain up to. That's what we're after. I just thought of something. So technically at top dead center, that sprocket should be in that position right there. So really all we have to do is get these gold chains to line up with these up here, and then this one should automatically be set. So let's do that. That's a lot easier than getting off this nut right here. I tried cranking that thing off, it wouldn't come off. So I think if it's timed correctly and that sprocket's on there correctly and it's at top dead center, we should be able to time it just from up here. So let's grab the cam chain tensioner out of here and move that chain until those gold links line up with these two right here. Cam chain tensioner just is 8mm. It wasn't on too tight. Must have had it off before, a couple times probably. The course of 3 years. Alright, cam chain tensioner's out. Chain should be nice and loose now. Alright, we're at top dead center right there. That's interesting because that sprocket's a little off right there. But we can move this chain now until we can get these gold pieces to line up. So let's move this chain up and just continue doing that until we find these gold pieces. All right, I think we're right where we need to be. Now we can see we're at top dead center. I checked again. You can see the hole, the little mark, the gold chain, hole, gold chain. I think we're perfect now. So that one should be lined up down there automatically. And if we look in here with a flashlight, let's see if we're close to where we need to be. We should be able to see a gold chain popping through because down here, maybe not, it's way down there. So we're gonna look down here and see if there's a gold chain. Oh yeah, look at that. The gold chain's right there, right where it's supposed to be. Awesome. That's sweet. All right, let's put everything back together. I ended up having to take out the cams and everything to get that chain to move. And then the cam holder. So we'll put everything back together and put the battery from the DS650 in there, crank her over, see if she starts. This is exciting. This is very exciting. Hopefully it doesn't have low compression. All right guys, so I spun over the engine and it got stuck. So I looked down the spark plug hole and top dead center, the piston was like really far down in the cylinder. And I spun it around thinking I was like 180 out, and it was still really far down in the cylinder. So I'm thinking the flywheel is on wrong. The guy said that there was flywheel work done to this thing, so I wonder if somebody put the flywheel back on wrong. And yeah, it's not top dead center. There's no way. So it's like really far down in the cylinder. Even when it's even like way past the T, it's still really far down. So it's like way off. It is almost like 180 off. So I don't know what happened to the flywheel or what's going on there, but something is definitely off on this. So we're gonna take off this cover and check it out because something is not right. All right, we got the stator cover off. So right here is where the timing mark is. You can see the T is right here. It should be at the top, right up here, where the window is, and it's not. So I'm thinking whoever worked on this messed up the flywheel, and the flywheel is really like 180 off. It's supposed to be like right here. And every time I rotate it, it ends up right here. So we're at the top. You can see the piston through there right now. I don't know if you guys can see that. Piston's right at the top. And every time I rotate it over, those timing marks end up right there, and they should end up right there. So we're gonna try to get the flywheel off. I think we need a special flywheel puller for that I don't have, but we can try to get this nut off and see what happens, because I think somebody bolted the flywheel on incorrectly. So it looks like the flywheel has to line up correctly due to the keyway, the little Woodruff key. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I'm guessing the little key that's supposed to go in between the crank and the flywheel is sheared off, and that flywheel is just in the wrong spot. That's my prediction. So let's take off that bolt if it comes off and take a look, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Check it out. Here's a picture of what the Polaris Predator crank looks like. And you can see the key on it right there. It's hard to see. Sorry about this. You can see the key right there. See how it doesn't go all the way to the end of the shaft right there? So I'm guessing somebody pounded it on there and didn't line up the key and the crank, and just kind of pounded it on there and it was tight because that key is poking up like that. That's just my guess. So what we're gonna do is get a puller and take off that flywheel and see where that key is, because it has to be wrong. It just has to be wrong. It's almost like that key needs to be all the way over here. That's how far off it is. So either it sheared off and slipped, or somebody pounded it on there wrong and just left it like that. So I guess we will order up the flywheel puller and continue our process. It will be interesting to find out what we find, and that's why it probably didn't start up. The guy was really close with his timing, and it should have at least popped over. It's this flywheel causing problems, so just messing up all the timing. All right, so we got the flywheel puller ordered. It was like 25 bucks on Amazon. Should be here in a couple days. Until then, we can't really do too much. We can't really do the top end because we need to time it in order to do the top end. So yeah, basically this thing would never run if it was like this. So hopefully, I mean, it has to be that key. I don't know what else it could be that is making it off time. So it's definitely got to be that keyway in there, or something's really messed up with the flywheel. So I've never ran into this problem before where that key is messed up, so that's just giving me some false hope there. But I'm hoping that's the thing, because I rotated this thing over to top dead center about 100 times just to make sure that I'm not going crazy here and that I'm actually, right about this. So hopefully this is the fix. But yeah, we got a lot done. We figured out how to time this thing. So once we get that done and we get the new keyway in there, we can time this thing and it should fire right up. I think the carburetor was cleaned on it recently, so we don't even have to touch that. And then just to kind of piece this thing back together, I think we need an air filter for this thing as well. I'm not sure if there's one in the box or not. I didn't really look too closely. There is a box down there, and there is I think the air filter is in there. So we don't really need too much other than what we have. The clutch basket looks pretty good. Didn't even look at it. I was too focused on the timing, but that looks pretty good. Not too worn or anything. And then the clutch plates looked pretty good when I took them off. So I think everything's here. We just have to wait for that key. Then looking in here, it looks pretty decent except for the water and the oil, which we have to solve that problem too, which could be the water pump right here. Or it could have just gotten water in it from letting it sit outside. I'm not too sure. But yeah, basically waiting for that part, and then we can piece everything back together and hear it run. So stay tuned for part 2 on this thing, coming up in a couple days. Should be pretty exciting. We'll see what we find. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. Until next time, we are out.